I'm sorry, but I can't give you enough. Call me up, brother, when the good times come. Call me brother when the good times come. Call me brother when the good times come. Well, I'm hurting now, but I won't be hurting long.
Hey there, welcome to the American Southwest here in southern Utah. It is a long drop over that ledge there. This is a trippy spot here. Interstate 70 right there, and a rest area and viewing point. Just pulled over to take a look. Absolutely phenomenal scenery here. And so I just took a break for the past month visiting family in California, and then I was ready for another adventure. Hopped in my trusty Honda CR-V there, drove across California, Nevada, into Utah on Highway 50, called the loneliest highway in America. It was the old route going across the United States through the central part of the US until the interstates were developed in the 70s. Highway 50 is a absolutely stunningly beautiful route driving through very desolate areas of Nevada, but it is less desolate than you might think. There are mountain ranges, you see snow and forests and stuff. It is really gorgeous. I didn't film coming out here, just wanted to enjoy the ride. But I am really stoked to be in this part of the country. It is an area that I have explored, but definitely not thoroughly. I mean, there is just so much to see here. You could spend a lifetime. And so I'm driving next to Arches National Park, about an hour and a half or so out that way. I have been there before when I was a kid, I think twice, including on a road trip with my aunt Chris, who took me on this big road trip when I was 8 years old in the summer of 1980. Definitely a influence on my traveling wanderlust. We went on this trip for like 2 weeks and went all over the West, went to tons of national parks, hiking and camping and stuff like that. I've like hitchhiked through this area back in the 90s when I was in my 20s, and went on a road trip with Sterling 2 years ago. Went to Zion, but there's also Bryce in southern Utah, and Canyonlands National Park. A lot to see in this area, so I'm just gonna have fun like hanging out in this area for the next week or 10 days or something. Unfortunately, it is not cheap in Moab, the town that is closest to Arches. Got a hotel there for the next 2 nights. Cheapest thing I could find, $220 per night, because it is a popular spot there, but for good reason, as you will be seeing very soon. And look at this. Just truly mind-blowing landscapes. Imagine being a pioneer going through stuff like this in a covered wagon at, you know, whatever, 4 or 5 miles an hour for months and months. So it's called the San Rafael Swell. You have driven into a geologist's paradise. Here layers of the Earth's crust are eroded and exposed for easy viewing, revealing millions of years of Earth's history. You can identify each layer by its color and characteristics. During the Jurassic period, the area had tropical forests inhabited by giant dinosaurs that died and left behind their bones to intrigue and enchant us. You are here, Cretaceous, Jurassic, Triassic, Permian, Pennsylvanian. Wild. So if anyone's wondering about the shirt, then I took this picture in Rishikesh, India in, I think, 2010. And on the back, a little hard to show, but for anyone who saw my recent video about the Greek islands, in which I went to Santorini and found that hidden church and showed the amazing sunset view, that photo was taken that same time in 2009. And so I have to give a shout out to one of my viewers, Rocco, who contacted me and said, I want to make you a shirt with your own photos. And so that's how this shirt came about. Super awesome. You can see there's a man there. It is also the cover of one of my books, The Most Hilarious Thing That Ever Happened, which is a collection of short stories of mine that I wrote when I was a college student in Alaska, in Fairbanks, Alaska, and wrote all these creative fiction stories. And so that book is self-published. It is available on Amazon.com. There's a link down below to all my books if you want to check it out. All right, well, I think that I'm going to hop back in the car, keep on cruising, and get to Amazing Arches, which is going to blow this away. So I'm a little ways down the interstate at Devil's Canyon. Humans have lived among these rocks and cliffs for longer than you can imagine. Archaeological investigations conducted as part of the interstate construction across the swell during the 1970s and 80s located over 100 prehistoric sites. The sites show that hundreds of generations of Native American peoples inhabited this rugged land for thousands of years and in all seasons. Archaeologists explored sites from the early Archaic period of hunting and gathering about 9,500 years ago up to historic ranching sites of the early 20th century. People survived by hunting and gathering until about the time of Christ, when small-scale agriculture dependent on corn, beans, and squash was adopted. The earliest evidence of farming on the swell dates to about AD 500 at the confluence site. So let's go take a look at the canyon. And this is the Spotted Wolf Canyon. They call it the San Rafael Reef, a 30-mile-long stone barrier, a sawtooth ridge at the eastern edge of nowhere. For centuries, only the most intrepid travelers found their way through its narrow slot canyons and on to the Green River crossing. The early Spanish explorers detoured 20 miles north to avoid the forbidding wall. In 1883, the Denver and Rio Grande Railroad also avoided breaching the reef, laying track just east of its sheer walls north to Salt Lake City. In 1957, the decision was made to increase the nation's interstate highway system, and I-70 was engineered to bisect San Rafael Swell. Here at Spotted Wolf Canyon, workers could stand and touch both walls of the canyon before construction began in October 1967. Engineers and surveyors used body harnesses and ropes to work as high as 400 feet above the canyon floor. That's where I'm heading. You can see how narrow the canyon gets down at the bottom there. Love these wide open spaces, but not the boring, flat, wide open spaces of other parts of the country. Fascinating area.